The What the Army Must Do seminar was the third event in the Unified Quest 2012 campaign of learning. Unified Quest is the Army's Title X capstone war game. It is a key component of the Army campaign of learning. It is one spoke in the Army's preparation for future warfare. The event brought together experts from the Army, the sister services, the full range of joint and interagency partners, academia, and think tanks. The purpose was to develop insights and recommendations that will, in this era of constrained resources, enable the Army to transition from today's force to the Army of 2020.
It's important to come to an event where good ideas are being developed and thought about and argued over, and this is that kind of event.
The participants were divided into 3 working groups to look at a series of common questions by examining them through 3 vignettes. The vignettes were designed to help a group look in depth at prevent, shape, or win. Group 1 studied prevent. They investigated an anti-American insurgency in a fictional nuclear-capable U.S. ally in 2020. The conflict had the potential to threaten regional nations and the U.S. homeland with nuclear weapons. Group 2 looked at shape. The group's work was an extension of the Asia Rising group at the Alternative Futures Symposium. The vignette posited an Army response to a catastrophic natural disaster requiring massive humanitarian assistance in a region with rising powers hostile to U.S. strategic objectives. Group 3 studied win. The scenario challenged forward deployed forces and the Army's ability to rapidly reinforce those forces to support treaty obligations and regional partners. The adversary had used nuclear weapons and was supported by a U.S. near-peer competitor in the region. At the conclusion of the seminar, the working group participants presented their findings to senior leaders, driving discussions that led to the following insights and implications. The insight: the Army must retain a robust generating force to support reversibility, expansibility. This generating force will compete for resourcing with operating forces. The implication from this insight is that billets from the operating forces will need to transfer to the generating force. This will ensure that the generating force has the capacity to preserve the Army's intellectual expertise. The insight: maintaining reserve components as an operational reserve incurs costs. This may place reserve components' strategic depth and availability for Title 32 roles at risk. The implication is the possible need to adjust active component and reserve component force mix of key enablers to meet contingencies. The insight: there are opportunities for better special operations forces and conventional forces interface on a sustained basis through all phases of a campaign. The implication: we must internalize lessons learned. Additionally, to expand cooperation across the mission sets of both conventional forces and SOF in support of country teams. Finally, to increase cross-functional leader development. The insight: the decreasing budgets in other departments and agencies will generate higher demand for the Army to support civil authorities and conduct humanitarian assistance both at home and abroad. The implication: the Army can expect increased future requirements in these responsibilities with little lead time to respond. The Army will need a future structure and mix to respond to these missions. The insight: the United States will be challenged due to dwindling support from current alliances, while at the same time needing to develop new partners. The reduction in forward stationing will cause partners to question U.S. abilities and influence. It may cause shifts in regional alignments. The implication: the Army must understand how to integrate remaining capabilities of existing partners. It needs to seek and build new partners with the needed capabilities who are willing to serve in coalitions. The Army needs to find creative ways of having presence as we reduce forward stationing. The insight: the Army needs to mitigate force projection risk and counter anti-access strategies through investment in building partners' capacity that support gaining access to bases in a crisis. The implication: the Army will need to invest in partner capacity building, where the return on investment is greatest. Southwest Asia, Northern Africa, Asia, India, and Mexico.
Put it in a word, partner. I think you're going to see partnership come in terms of leveraging interagency capability, leveraging host nation capability, partner capability across the spectrum, not just joint, also internally to our own services.
The insight. The Army has a critical role in securing the global commons and gaining and maintaining access. These tasks require credible land forces, mission command, and other capabilities and capacities that the Army alone provides to the joint force. The implication is that the Army needs to identify and preserve the necessary capabilities and capacity it must have to execute its Defense Planning Guide responsibilities. The What the Army Must Do seminar insights and implications lead to the conclusion that the Army must plan for and invest in capabilities to prevent, shape, and win.
We've got to be prepared to prevent the next war from happening. We've got to shape the environment so that either we prevent the next war from happening, or if it does happen, that we can win it, and then we've got to be able to win it.